Hello, and welcome to Sexualization and Objectification of the Female Athletes by Viola Paoletti. If you have participated in a type of sport, you may have heard some conversation inside the locker room towards the physique of some athletes, especially if the topic involved a woman, to the point that it is almost normalized. That's why I wanted to talk about this argument, so that I could bring attention to this topic and raise awareness towards it. The first topic that I would like to talk about is the general definition and perception of the sexual objectification. The American Psychological Association commissioned a task force in 2007 to analyze the connection between the sexualizations of girls and the media. The sexualizations occurs when the value of a person corresponds only to his or her sexual appeal or behavior, to the exclusion of other characteristics. A person is held to a standard that defines physical attractiveness with being sexy. A person is sexually objectified, and then that sexuality is inappropriately imposed upon a person. There is not a necessity for all 4 points to be presented, since anyone is an identification of sexualization. The objectification theory, including the sexual objectification, was presented by Fredrickson and Roberts in 1997 for showing what it means to be a woman living in a society that highly sexualizes the female body and its experience and consequences. They observed how body objectification and sexual objectification have been defined as occasions in which a person is considered as a thing for others' sexual use, instead of being seen as a person capable of being independent and making their own decisions. Therefore, objectified women are considered for their bodies, especially thinking that they exist only for the sexual pleasure. Women tend to internalize this consideration that an outsider may have to them, and begin to self-objectify their appearance and to esteem themselves as an instrument. The authors even analyzed how self-objectification can increase women's anxiety regarding physical appearance, for example, how their body will be judged, and reduce the chance for peak motivational states or flow, diminish consciousness of organic bodily sensation, for example, famishment, amplify women's opportunities for body shame, for example, the feelings by comparing themselves to the standard imposed by the society and omitting that, and increase women's anxiety about their physical safety, like the fears about being raped, which in turn can lead to disordered eating, depression, and sexual dysfunctions. I would like to talk now about the sexualization of the female athletes. If you search on Google athletes female, some of the most searched things related to the keywords, so the ones that are suggested, will be related to the physical appearance of the girls, such as athletes female body, athletes female beautiful. Instead of being known for the physical abilities, female athletes are mostly known and searched for their physical attractiveness. Klevskens, a volleyball player of the Rison's Rams, reminisced in an interview made by Kelly in 2019 about what her father said to her when she was little, and that affected her. "That's a sport I won't be getting my girls into, not with the shorts they wear." To which the volleyball player replied, "I just thought how sad it is that this guy is willing to deny his daughter all the amazing things volleyball has to offer, because he doesn't like the length of our shorts." She also added how so many times female athletes are showcased by the outfits they wear on their body types, instead of being part of a team that works so hard in the weight room to compete at a high level. Some research have been done addressing the problem of how women in sports are portrayed. The study made by Diana in 2012 analyzed the responses given by 429 girls of ages between 13 and 22 when it was showed to them images of performance athletes, sexualized athletes, and sexualized models. The participants had to make an evaluation of the athletes and themselves after seeing the images about the performance athletes. The results of the study showed that people who saw the sexualized sportsman were more aware of their and the athlete's body, of the male gaze, the sexiness, and the social condition, while the participants that were exposed to the performance ones made more statements regarding the physical activity, the role model, and the break in gender stereotypes. So it's clear that the media has an enormous influence on the perception of the athletes. We are able to see how the European press of the Olympic Games of the year 2000 showed that even though only 29.3% of the articles and 38% of photos were on women's sports, the newspaper coverage was similar to the distribution of participating athletes and events. Sexist language has the purpose of validating the subordination of women in sports. That is one of the reasons behind why it's still persistent in our society. Our research demonstrates the practice related to the gender that diminishes and reduces women for both general and sports context. Physical traits that highlight female sex appeal, the use of girl or gal when talking about a female athlete older than 18, using feminist suffixes that derive through the institutions of a negative female category, using the term lady when talking about a team, female athlete or mascot, for example, Lady Vols, using male words to refer both the sexes, or using a male name with a feminine modification like Lady Rams, assigning men's and women's names to the team that are equal to the female and male oppositions, like for example providing powerful terms for the male team, such as a Fighting Scots, and for women giving a name that reduces their athleticism, like Scotties, and not using a woman's last name or full given name instead of the first name. Some studies were carried in the past decade to explore the negative effects perceived by girls, like for example disordered eating, body dissatisfaction, lower self-esteem, and self-monitoring. Female athletes became the role models for those adolescent girls, particularly if they participated in sports. And the way these athletes are pictured by the media highly influence on the perception that an individual will have about themselves, such as if their own body is similar to their idol's one. This means that if the media portray the athletes in a sexualized way, we could have therefore girls looking at their body as an object for other people's enjoyment, and the sexualization has a direct effect on the body of the subject affected. One of the consequences of this effect is the eating disorder, which refers to various behaviors, such as obsessive preoccupations with the body weight, food restriction, dieting and binge eating, vomiting and the use of diuretics or laxatives. The aim of disordered eating is to obtain a slim body to balance the strong body dissatisfaction that the person feels. That usually is related to the image problem, that is an incapability to recognize and understand that the body is changing, which could lead to anorexia nervosa or bulimia nervosa or eating disordered, not otherwise specified. Another illness is social physical anxiety, is when a person feels that is evaluated negatively by others, and this could be another factor linked to the development of the eating disorder within the athletic community, since someone might expect the disordered eating problems to be correlated to the self-appearance concerns involving the body. This relationship could be created by a social cultural pressure to conform and obtain to the ideal body, and the urge to show their personality in the manner. Even if women's involvement in sports and physical activity can be neglected or sexualized, participating in this type of activity may be the best opposition that girls could have towards objectification and sexualization. So, in conclusion, we can say that there have been improvements on the situation regarding women in sports, but there are still many problems that need to be solved. To face these issues, female athletes created many websites that could help them spreading awareness on the sexual objectification inside the sports field. It is also suggested to create specific events and programs in school to help younger girls realize their potential and at the same time protect them from the sexualization applied in the society. So thank you for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoy it.